Welcome, welcome. This is Cruising Highway Tomorrow podcast, and I am Bert Cruz. And would you please introduce yourself to our audience?
My name is Nina. I go by Nina Nahatia. My full name is too long, so just let's stick with that.
And you're from?
I'm originally from Java,
Okay,
Indonesia,
yeah,
and live here.
okay,
I don't know, but I don't speak the language,
uh-huh,
but
okay,
been here for 9 years.
okay. And so what brought you to Bali?
Um, there's various reasons. I came here like in 2007 for a school holiday, and I like the cultures, I like the people, I like the place. But what made me really move here is as soon as my mom passed away about 9 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
it motivates me to just move, take everything behind, leave everything behind, and just start over.
All right.
And the main reason is to give me a time to grieve
Mm-hmm.
because I'm as a first born, you're dealing with the funerals and
Sure.
taking care of everybody else
Uh-huh.
emotions, and you in 3 months like I don't cry, and then I move here and it give me a space to stay with the feeling like
Oh.
losing somebody that meant to you.
Oh, well. Did you come here by yourself?
Back then I was with my ex-partner.
Okay.
Yeah, so with his help we take a van,
Mm-hmm.
with either passenger.
Sure.
So we travel here, bring my, you know, 7 years life in Surabaya, and then rent an apartment and start over.
All right. Okay. Well, let's jump into yoga and fitness. So, my coming from the West, from America, my introduction to basically Eastern philosophy, yoga, meditation was in the 60s. At that time, there were very few books. Everything on Buddhism came from Sri Lanka. There were no local authors in America in English. There was very little in English. My first copy of the Bhagavad Gita was from a Hare Krishna at the airport, which was very common at the time. I think the Upanishads, there were maybe 2 English translations available in the world. So it was very limited. And because the Beatles had a meditation guru, Maharishi Yoga, suddenly it exploded. And I was in Dallas, Texas, and I was in my teen years, and I would drive into Dallas to a meditation center where they taught us either mostly transcendental, so you learned a mantra. Guided meditations were not a thing back then at all. So it was basically either a mantra-based meditation or later mindful, where you work on your breath, which I learned much later, which is what I still practice today. And then after our meditation, we would do yoga. And yoga was considered to be sort of an exercise to enhance your meditation, mainly because you're sitting in one position and you're sore, your back hurts, your feet hurt. And I've seen now over the years that yoga has become more of a spiritual practice itself. So I think it's really interesting how it started off to augment a spiritual practice and has now become. So I'd love for you to tell me a little bit about what you think about that, how your yoga training, did it lead you in a spiritual direction? Was it, an augment for meditation? What did you learn?
Um, to think of like how I originally get into yoga was actually physical.
Uh-huh.
It's the opposite.
Right.
Yeah. Um, Years ago when I started, yoga wasn't really popular,
Uh-huh.
even in Indonesia. The most of people who do yoga is like older lady. So it's not like really my first choice
Uh-huh.
to do yoga. I thought that yoga is about, gentle stretch. It's like Tai Chi.
Right.
Like that. That's in my mind. Until one day my best friend convinced me to do yoga. A year later, I joined him, and actually it's more than just physical exercise, and it's nothing like Tai Chi at all.
Right.
Like it's not like just sitting down and doing like small qigong movement. And the moment when I see I think she's like 60 something years old, like standing doing the headstand, like
Right.
I was like, whoa. I mean, like, if she can do that, I am young and
It's
I'm not
powerful.
physically able. So
Yeah.
imagine what this body and mind can do.
Uh-huh.
Because maybe physically it's possible, but how my mind can think of that is possible.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So from the from that first day, I felt something woken.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And then I come back the next day and it's become my daily practice. So it
Uh-huh.
was just physical and I like the way it made me feel. And eventually you learn a little bit about breath, mindfulness,
Yes.
how this is affect with my health. I becoming more focused and my body feel good.
Right.
And it just leads a little bit into healthy pattern.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's just it's hard to describe how the practice somehow my mind is like really jumping.
Yeah.
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 Like a distracted often.
Right.
But then
Me too.
it give me like sense of like, oh, I can focus on this. Even
Right.
though I'm distracted, but then I can tick back.
Right.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
give me disciplines.
Which is very similar to mindful meditation, where you're focusing on the breath. And when you get distracted with the monkey mind conversation, you always come back to the breath to keep your focus. And that's what I have really loved in Bali is most of the yoga that I've been doing here has been hatha based breath work yoga and learning to control the body with breathing, which I think makes the practice really amazing. I had a friend in Northern California who was a Qigong master in addressing your Tai Chi. And he, as a young boy, of course, had gone into judo, jujitsu, karate, and martial arts. And as he got older and matured, he started doing Qigong. And he said to me that it takes a punch to hurt. You can poke a hole in somebody, you can do major damage quickly, fast. But the recovery, the healing, which is what Qigong was, the healing process takes a long time and is slow. And that's why he had changed over. And I thought that was such a wonderful kind of way of describing it. And I feel like when I was watching in our practice today, I know that, I deal with a lot of discomforts and I feel like it would be so nice if I could just take a pill. It's the Western way. I want instant relief. I want to be trim and slim overnight. I want my back to stop hurting me now. And yet I feel like this slow healing process that yoga provides is so much more powerful in the long run.
Yes, and it's like more holistic in our body as
Right,
well.
right. So, how did you get started teaching in Bali? I mean, tell me a little bit about the downside in the beginning and when you really decided there was something you wanted to be committed to.
Well, it took me 4 years until I took my first teacher training, but I remember a year into practices and I get to, egotistical because I was so flexible.
Uh huh.
And then I asked, well, maybe I want to be yoga teacher.
Uh huh.
And then I asked my teachers like, hey, what do you think if I take yoga teacher training? And he's just really bold saying like, no, you're not ready yet.
Oh, oh, that must have been a real ego-shattering moment.
Yeah, and I was like, well, I can do a lot of things. Like, I know you can do a lot of things, but your mind is not there. These Indian teachers.
Oh, interesting.
Well, okay, then fine. I
Uh
keep
huh.
going. The second years, I asked the same thing, and it's just like, you know what? You're still not ready, but when you're ready,
Uh huh.
And then I kept practicing, and then one day I was in Cambodia. It's like the year when my mom passed away, and then
Mm-hmm.
I thought like, okay, I have to come back to Surabaya, and I got time before I can finish my university thesis
Mm-hmm.
because I have to graduate. I
Mm-hmm.
can't keep just like going around and not finishing the things that I started. That's
Mm-hmm.
not me. So I got time, and then I saw this advertisement about teacher training, um, I'm just randomly asked them because I know this community, I know the teachers. And hey, I've been doing yoga for this long, and I don't know if I'm gonna teach or not.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought that I would like to deepen my knowledge because somebody a while ago told me that I am hypermobile and it's not healthy, and I would
Mm-hmm.
like to know how to do yoga appropriately and properly in a way it doesn't hurt me.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then she respond, yeah, we still have a spot. And the
Mm-hmm.
price was quite affordable in my range. So I come back to Surabaya and I took the trainings.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was really great decisions in my life.
Uh-huh.
Like
Awesome.
I didn't know that I have a confidence to teach in the front of the public,
Uh-huh.
because after exams and then
And you're so good with everybody. That's one of the charming things I think about your classes is like your personality. And I'm going to talk about this later because there are a lot of yoga people who their personality dominates the class. But it's like the fact that you remember everybody's name, that you're smiling and laughing, it makes everybody I think feel really comfortable. Like, oh well, if I don't make that pose, nobody's going to be looking at me. It doesn't feel like a competition, which
for me,
yeah, yeah,
I have a lot of limitation in my body as well. Like after so many years practicing, I cannot do the cool things that a lot of
uh-huh,
people do.
uh-huh,
To me, cool things like if I can sit quietly, stay in my mind without even jumping and be okay with
yeah,
my messiness, and imperfections. So like I think it's cool.
yeah,
And everybody is cool person to me.
yeah,
They cool. Why can't I be cool too?
right,
Being
right.
okay.
I know I always took pride in my balancing poses, 20 years ago. And now I'm finding, and it's happens when you get older that your balance, sense of balance, you lose it. And so, lately in your class, when we do a balancing pose, I'm like, damn, I can't even stand on one foot anymore. What's the problem? And it's been very frustrating to me. I'm actually gonna like take the 2 weeks when we're in Vietnam. I'm gonna spend time in our house and at the gym working on my balancing because I'm just determined to get it back to what it was. You know?
Sometimes when we attach to the idea of like we cannot do and we want to do it,
Yeah.
usually it's not happen.
Right.
It's happen when we just let it go.
Right. Right.
Let it go the
Right.
idea. Like if it's happen, it happen. If it's not, like so what?
Uh huh.
End of the world.
Right. How tied in are you to the whole yoga community? I mean, Bali's insane. There's probably a million instructors, yoga parlors, shops, everything. Do you feel, do you have a sort of cadre, a group of people that you know, meet with or talk with, or do you pretty much act on your own? Or, are you a member of a yoga club? Yeah, a yoga teaching club.
Um, I am not. I don't think that I am in a specific community. I like to be just being the whole community, nothing specific.
Uh-huh.
Because then it creates certain things that we are different than anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that we are that different.
Oh, awesome.
We maybe have a different point of view, different style of teaching, different idea, different lifestyle, different even belief. Let's say in terms of how we should practice, how we should live our life, diets,
Mm-hmm.
hobby,
Mm-hmm.
or even spiritual practice.
Right.
But it doesn't make us different.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We
I,
are this one whole community
yeah.
with different interests and different needs, but like yoga is supposed to be unite people,
Mm-hmm.
like unite community, like unite everything because it's what it means to
Mm-hmm.
connect.
Mm-hmm. I remember when I took up mindful meditation, very early on, we were taught, I don't know, there were like 3 or 4 principles, and one of them was the Sangha, the community of meditators, and how important that was. And it took me a long time to think, well, I can do it on my own. I don't need to, you know. And then you realize that when you're in a community of practitioners, it makes a huge difference. So that leads me into a topic that we kind of talked on before this interview, and I promise we won't name names or places, but it seems like, particularly in Bali, we have a lot of instructors who they're not satisfied teaching poses. They want to be spiritual gurus and life coaches and take you on their journey. Why do you think yoga practice in particular is prone to these kind of people being able to express themselves that way? Because I know a lot of people probably love it. Zibi and I were at one yoga class where literally the instructor couldn't stop playing with the lights, the fan, and the music. And we both came out of there going, well, that was a yoga experience, you know, a sound and light show. I don't feel like I did any poses really. And it feels like to me that ego, this predominance of ego is really easily possible in yoga instructing. Do you think that's true? Do you think there's a reason for that? Do you think, are we dealing with just insecure people? What is?
I think it's not a, you know, it's, I hope my answers doesn't offend anybody.
Right.
The practice of yoga is so powerful, and it requires commitment and consistent and knowing what you practice on. Because since it's really work, I believe in energy, so it's
Right.
really work internally with certain energy, and we are different people and we have a different wave, vibrations, energy, what is dominant in us.
Mm-hmm.
And if the practice is not balanced, well, it may be drawn more upward, drawn more backward. Then that's what create little bit imbalance. Maybe make us a little bit more egotistical, maybe make us a little bit more down. So if we have a balanced practice, maybe it's good. But that's the point we doing yoga, is to create balance.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's totally beautiful.
And if, for example, a certain teacher, master, guru, they create some atmosphere or teaching in a way that it felt maybe very, you know, driven by ego, then this is the one experience of the person maybe that doesn't align with this teaching. But I am sure there are also a group of people that was really touched, and these teachers help this person.
Right.
You know, like,
Yeah.
it's like everybody is a cup of tea for everybody.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, like let's say
yeah.
I don't attract all the people from this universe. I may attract certain people because of something that I attract. But it doesn't mean that somebody who doesn't resonate with me, they're not my people. They're still my people.
Right.
It doesn't have, I don't have to be, you know, maybe in that moment when they try the session with me, it ignites something in them, like, oh, Nina is not my person, I should go to this. So that moment I contribute something in that person's life.
Yeah.
Even though just for like 5 seconds.
Right.
And then that person find the other people. It works different way.
Since I've been here, I have seen my attitude and my feelings about life really change radically. And one of the things is learning to be less judgmental, you know, and even though I'm talking about the sound and light show yoga, I recognize that there are plenty of people who probably love that.
Yeah.
I remember years ago thinking I wanted to try Ashtanga, which is, you know, extremely athletic, you know, they're just, they're moving so fast. It moves so fast. I mean, you're hyperventilating to follow your breath. Yeah, and I thought, God, I wish I could do this, but on the other hand, it's not for me. It's not for me, you know. And so I love that you say that it's like, there's so many different paths that yoga offers, and there's literally one for everybody.
Yeah.
There's literally one for everybody. And I think that's what's so kind of beautiful about here in Bali is this community that supports everybody being both part of a community and an individual,
Yeah.
you know?
And it's such a, they say it's a mecca of yoga in Indonesia, but in some way, yes, because the moment when I moved from Surabaya, my
Uh-huh.
yoga community there to here, I was like, whoa, I don't even know there is a style called vinyasa
Right.
because I only practice hatha yoga and ashtanga.
Uh-huh.
If I want to feel like I have exercise and workout, or in the morning time, if I have time, I do ashtanga. If it's in the evening, I do hatha. That's all I know.
Right.
And then I
Right.
moved here like this. I went to a studio and it was like really pumping nice, like pop or rock and like
Uh-huh.
music, and you flowing like in vinyasa. Like, whoa, I don't just like dance. I felt good. I don't know it's a thing, but it is a thing apparently.
Uh-huh.
Like
That's funny.
you try different thing, and it's opened my horizon that yes, maybe hatha and ashtanga is like the something that I learned before,
Uh-huh.
but the other style is there. And maybe this style is work for, let's say, if I do yoga first time doing this style, I will not come back.
Uh-huh.
I'm glad I do yoga that kind of style, and then it led me to this style, and I actually enjoying it.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. So where do you see yourself in like 5, 10 years?
I think
It
I'm still here and teaching down dog and
okay. And you're good with that. You don't have dreams to have a yoga school or become a yoga instructor, or
yeah, that dream starting to arise and getting stronger.
you'd be a great instructor.
I was people ask me why don't I teach in trainings?
Mm-hmm.
Do I want to open my own yoga studio? If you asked me 3 years ago,
Uh-huh.
my answer is gonna be like, no, it's not in my map.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy to do things that I do, but then one day I felt that I need growth.
Mm-hmm.
And then I pray that please give me a growth that I need.
Mm-hmm.
And then starting about a year and a half ago, like some opportunity arise, like
Mm-hmm.
starting to teach a little bit workshop in a teacher
Mm.
training, teaching something, just being part of it, assisting. So that's that's teach me about my own capacity, my own
Mm-hmm.
ability, like
Mm-hmm.
it's possible.
I hope you do. I mean, I think when we come to your class, it's word of mouth that people tell each other, "Oh, you should come to this one. You should come to this one." And at where we go, your classes are generally the largest, and you're spreading your blood through us, into the world. But I think Nina's school of yoga would be a really positive influence. And I think by working it with other yoga instructors, you will multiply your message, and I look forward to seeing how you go. I hope we're friends for a long time.
Oh, I will not doubt that. One thing that very dear to me is like I hold, I took a great value about relationship in any which form,
Uh-huh.
in whatever life path, like journey that we will be in the next 5 years. It shouldn't disconnect.
Right.
We may be right now, we may be like you come to the class every weekend, but
Right.
in 5 years you could be maybe just every 3 months,
Right.
but you still
We
gonna
don't
be bird.
we don't lose our connection. Yeah.
We still have
Thank
these
you.
connections.
Well, I wish you the best of luck, and if there's any links that we can provide, they'll be at the bottom of the podcast
Link of what?
for to where you're teaching, where you're instructing. But thank you a lot for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Oh, welcome.
And thank you all for tuning in.